Hi, I'm Lee Marie Thompson. I'm a member of the ISOC DC, and a very interesting discussion this morning. And we've kind of talked about, cost for the provider and pricing for the consumers, and we dabbled a little bit with the behavior of users, and with more users going mobile and access to broadband via mobile devices, what are some specific key policies that you'd like to see in place to address these types of behaviors that are coming from low-income, rural, and individuals that are not in cities? What kind of specific policies do you think need to be brought about or adjusted to address these types of behaviors? Thanks.
Well, let me go first and focus on a couple things. First of all, I think it's important to remember we're spending $8 billion a year on the Connect America Fund and on subsidies for low-income consumers today. So we're not starting from zero. And I think before we start talking about, do we need to do more for rural builds and so forth, I think we ought to ask the question, more relative to what we're doing today, not more relative to zero. I don't know whether $8 billion is exactly the right number, but it's a long way from zero. This is in a country that can't land airplanes on time because we can't afford air traffic control centers. So let's just be careful what we're spending our money on a little bit. That's number one. Secondly, there is a special needs population, it seems to me, that isn't currently the focus of policy, and that is families with children in school. And it is the case today that there are families that take the kids to Starbucks or McDonald's or whatever after school because they need internet access to be able to do their homework. And there are a couple different solutions to that. I mean, in my day, the parents would have gotten together and figured out a way to keep the school library open, and where there is 100% internet access, and maybe that's a solution. But if that's not a solution, if that's naive today, then the other answer is to single out those families within an income-based program, and say, if you've got kids in school, let's make sure you've got not just a broadband connection, but a computer. I mean, let's look at the whole package again, and let's look at this holistically, because it's not just the broadband. So it seems to me that if you were going to focus someplace, I've thought for a long time that would be a good place to focus.
As was mentioned, $8 billion is not zero. That's true. It's also true that from the perspective of someone who has no service, you're basically at zero. The $8 billion, if it's not getting service to you, then it's not making a difference in your life. So I think that we still, the amount that we've invested so far is good, but the fact is there are still millions of people in our country that have no access whatsoever.
I'm sorry, I mentioned Manhattan, Nevada. But I did mean 100% of the United States population. According to the Federal Communications Measuring Broadband Report, the SAMNOS data, has 16 megabits down, 4 megabits up, being delivered today. All you got to do is go online. They'll come bring the dish to your house tomorrow. It's ready to go. There is nobody in the United States who doesn't have that service available to them for $79 a month today. And to say that there are all these millions of people who have no broadband is just not accurate. And there's got to be some facts here at some point.
Anybody else want to respond to Mike's question there on the panel?
No, I just want to check privately on Manhattan.
Okay.
I'll say one quick thing.
Yeah, come on in.
We've long advocated that we should be expanding Lifeline and Link Up and making it technology neutral. Now that we're beginning to do that, you're seeing pushback from some conservatives on the Hill who are saying, my God, we're subsidizing cell phones, sort of like welfare queens or something. I find that really disturbing. The whole point of this program is, and I think Jeff would agree, should be technology neutral. If somebody wants to use their subsidy to use VoIP and a broadband connection as opposed to a POTS line, why do we care? We should be indifferent to that. So I think that's an important thing to keep in mind as we go forward. We want a subsidy program that is technology neutral and competitor neutral.
We just had a disagreement on here, and I think the audience can decide it fairly well. How many people, I'm with you, how many people in the audience think that about 20 minutes a day of decent video is enough for decent broadband? Somebody must. We got somebody on the stage who just said it. That's the problem with satellite. That's the problem with LTE. It tends to have caps that work out to about 20 minutes of video a day. Is that good enough? It is for some people, and it's a heck of a lot better than nothing. but we can't turn around and say it's the same 16:4 as somebody who doesn't have a cap and can watch video for a few hours. Am I wrong, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean,
What's the cap on that service?
you can buy larger caps. It costs you a little more money. The question is if you choose to live in a rural area, you're instead of paying $49 a month, you may pay $79 a month. If you choose to watch your television on IPTV instead of over Dish's satellite network, then you may pay a little bit more. And the notion that you shouldn't pay for what you use and everything should be free is a notion, but it's not one that I think we should embrace as public policy.
I didn't say what the right policy was. I just said they weren't the same. We got